So shadow work is really popular these days, but a lot of people don't know what it is. So I wanted to share with you a teaching tool that I've developed for my clients and mentees that explains what shadow work is and how it can be beneficial in our life. And so this is a diagram of a self, and the outside part, this mask or personality self, that's the part of us that most of us know about. Freud called it our ego, which is another term most people are aware of. And that's usually the part of ourselves that we show to the world. Now, there can be different aspects, different masks we wear in different circumstances, different aspects of our personality, unless you're really boring and just a mono unit, which most people are not, but there may be a few. But you're probably not watching this video. Anyway, so you might be super orderly and organized at work. You might be super silly and fun with your friends or your kids. You might be really angry when you go to visit your parents or have to deal with an ex. And so different aspects of our life, different people, different relationships get different aspects or different mask parts of our ego or personality self. I know when I used to go to visit my mother, she got a much different aspect of me than my boyfriend did or my party friends. So the poor thing, now she's dead and she doesn't have to deal with that anymore. But anyway, and I've done some shadow work, so I got much better before she died. But anyway, so most people think this is all of who they are, although, most of us know there's something more going on. And we try to keep it so that no one sees that part of ourselves, because there's often a belief that if you knew who I really was, you wouldn't like me or perhaps wouldn't love me, because I have rejected those aspects of myself, or they were rejected or not supported by my family of origin or the culture or religion that I grew up in. And so somewhere early in life, we develop this mask or personality self that allows us to be socially successful. So, it's pretty easy to tell usually what people like and what they don't like. And so we will often adapt ourselves to act in ways that get us approval or love and support. And we will put away or push down anything in our natural or authentic self that doesn't fit or might make us unsuccessful or be hurt or have problems. And so, for example, if your mother likes people who are neat and tidy, but you're kind of a loud, creative, messy person, then there may be a subjugation or a suppression of your creativity. If you grow up in a religion that believes that only heterosexuality is possible or approvable, and you have homosexual tendencies, then you might suppress that part of yourself down into the shadow. And if we think about this, the shadow is not a bad part of ourselves. It's just the parts of ourselves that we believe don't have a place in our mask or personality self, that they might make us unsuccessful, unloved, unapproved of. And sometimes that's just our own ideas, our own idealized self-image of ourselves. If I think I want to be a big, strong hero, then anything that's fearful or weak or underdeveloped in myself, I might hide that from other people and not do things I'm not good at if I think I'm only supposed to be like excellent or a perfectionist at everything. There's a lot, 8 billion people in the world. There's 8 billion different ways this presents. So it's unique to each of us. And you could kind of see this as like the structure of a house, if our self is a house. And the mask or personality self is the aspects of our house that we invite people into. We have them come into the living room. We might invite them into our bedroom if they're cute and fluffy. We might have them in the kitchen to go cooking, but we probably don't open up our messy closets, show them our underwear or dirty laundry, or bring them down into our basement where all of our stuff is stored. And so the shadow is our dirty laundry. It's our basement or attic or storage facility. And all of the places, it's the closet that you don't invite people to open up because they'd be overrun by all the things that fall out of it. And we usually keep those places locked away from ourself as well, both in the physical world and in the metaphysical world, which is what our inner self is a part of. And so the shadow self is all the parts that we feel are unacceptable or other people have said were unacceptable or unsupported, because sometimes there's parts of ourselves that are awesome, but they wouldn't have been supported or nourished or cultivated in our upgrowing circumstances. And so we put them away as well, I would say, for safekeeping. And so when we do shadow work, it's really about going in to clean out the closet, the basement, or do the laundry that's been sitting around for a long time. These are all aspects of ourself, and every aspect of ourself holds vital life energy. So when we do shadow work, it actually adds to our life force, makes us more authentic or who we really are, rather than just trying to please everybody else, which often does not make our deeper soul self happy. And so when we start to get honest, get real, dig a little deeper into the parts of ourselves that we have hidden away, that we might be ashamed of, that we might feel guilty about, they might be aspects of ourselves that, again, culturally might not be approved of, or might even be a little scary. Like some people have trouble with anger. They feel like anger was suppressed in their house, or they aren't comfortable with the amount of power that anger holds for them. And so they suppress all of their anger. But the bad news is it usually comes out in different dysfunctional ways. Whereas if we address it directly, then just like cleaning out our storage facility or doing our laundry, we can decide what we want to keep and what we want to let go of when we're conscious about it. When it's unconscious, it can often take over and drive the bus and make all kinds of things happen that we don't want to happen, like addiction, dysfunction, emotional outbursts that seem out of context for the circumstances that they're in. And so the benefit of this is that we actually have more consciousness and more adult awareness and able to act from our best self because we're incorporating more of who we are. Now, this inner part is actually our higher self, and we all have a higher self. And this is actually a portal to the unmanifested. It's an aspect of God, of our own connection with universal mind or source, and the unique soul substance that is the essence and excellence of each of us. Now, the problem with the mask self is that it doesn't want to look inside because it's afraid if you see that stuff, you won't like me. And the shadow self holds, again, a lot of who we really are. So in order often to get into connection with our higher self, we need to go through the shadow in order to connect with our own wise, higher consciousness that, again, exists in all of us. And so the benefit of doing shadow work is that we actually become more whole and we get access to the divinity, to the wisdom, to the love, joy, and fulfillment that are our birthright. But the mask self doesn't generally have access to that because it's living facing outward, worrying about what everybody else thinks, rather than going inward to see what our truth and true nature is. So I encourage you to do your own shadow work, and I can help you with that if you want. There's links to all of my content and to do one-on-one sessions with me in my profile.